For nearly 40 years, Mexico's story at the World Cup always ended the same way, round of 16. No matter how many times they made it out of the group, they could never get over the hurdle of the knockout stages. But when the World Cup returned home, everything changed. There's belief behind this team again. Tens of thousands of screaming Mexican fans in their home stadium. They believe it's their time to finally break the curse.
Alvarado's crossing! And it's 2-0!
But could this team actually do what generations of Mexican footballers couldn't? Well, it's possible. You see, this Mexico team hasn't lost a single game yet. They have one of the best defensive structures at the entire tournament, being one of only 2 teams to have not conceded a goal yet. Their tactical structure is focused on being as defensively solid as possible under Javier Aguirre, and when they are out of possession, they pack the midfield, not allowing opposition to go centrally. They don't employ pressing tactics like Jurgen Klopp or Bielsa teams. They rather wait for the offensive team to have a poor touch or sloppy pass to pounce on them, putting pressure and winning the ball back. That patience means that Mexico rarely gets caught out of shape. Johan Vazquez in particular has established himself as the most reliable center back in the team, playing every minute for them except for when he was rested. In terms of formation, they play 4-3-3 or employ a back 5 depending on the pressure on them. However, this team was an advanced 4-2-3-1 when they are attacking, with the fullbacks pushing far up the pitch to provide support. They aren't super focused on keeping possession of the ball, but rather working it up quickly, often providing long balls into their wide players. Usually, they use Raul Jimenez as a target forward, launching balls right into him, putting him into 1v1 situations against his center back. Because he's quite big and is 6'2", he also helps to provide aerial threat in set pieces or regular crosses. One person in attack that I'd like to highlight in particular is Julian Quiñones. He's been brilliant for Mexico at the World Cup. Whenever he receives the ball, he always looks to attack his fullback, taking him on and either cutting inside to shoot or delivering dangerous crosses right into Jimenez's head. Combined with the fact that Gallardo likes to push up and provide an overload in that wide area, it's made that left side for Mexico a huge source of goals. So in short, Aguirre has created a team that is defensively solid and can sustain lots of pressure for long periods of time, and can also transition from defensive to attacking, sending long balls into their best attackers. This team isn't built on playing a beautiful style of football, but is rather focused on what's most important: winning. Compare this to the old Mexican teams that wanted to play a beautiful style of football, but stronger opposition would crush them. And now it's time for Mexico to prove its tactical adeptness as they face South Africa in the opening game for the entire World Cup. With the whole world watching and the screaming Mexican fans of the Azteca expecting a win, the pressure was well and truly on for this team to perform. On paper, this Mexico team was a lot better, and they showed it right away. Mexico opted to employ a high press against this team, as they were not concerned about South Africa exploiting space in behind, and immediately they executed this to perfection.
Played against each other in the 1986 World Cup. Chitone was caught out there, and there's a lucky goal for the Mexicans. Quiñones!
And just like that, they demonstrated what they could do. They pressed high, they won the ball back, and scored a goal. Quiñones finished it brilliantly to secure his first of the World Cup. And Mexico continued on with the pressure, searching for a second goal, as Raul Jimenez had a major chance to score, but the goalkeeper saved the ball. Mexico ended up continuing to create a beautiful link-up play, giving Quiñones the chance to shoot, but hit right off the post, denying him a second goal. However, they did have to be careful as South Africa were still having a decent few chances to create something. However, the Mexican defense remained airtight. But things started to delve into chaos, as Mexico ended up on a breakaway. Raul Jimenez runs through, but is fouled by Sithole. This leads to him being sent off for a silly challenge, putting South Africa down to 10 men. Then the ball is crossed into the box and Raul Jimenez loses his marker to score his first ever World Cup goal. But things get even crazier as a South African player bulldozes down the Mexican player, getting himself sent off and bringing South Africa down to 9 men. The chaos couldn't even escape the Mexico players as a South African player was running down, but Montes ends up taking him down, getting himself sent off as well, ending the game in utter chaos as 3 red cards were handed out. So that was a crazy game, but nonetheless, Mexico ended up winning the game pretty comfortably. Next up, they faced South Korea, which would prove to be a tough test. The Koreans in their opening game had dominated Czechia, winning 2-1, but creating plenty of chances to score as well. This would not be an easy game to win. They clearly couldn't execute that high press that they employed against South Africa. They had to be focused on defense first in this game. And right away, the defense is tested as a ball comes over the top, and Son Heung-min lobs it in over the keeper, but Alvarez clears the ball just in the nick of time off the goal line. But Mexico started an attack themselves. They win the ball back thanks to their press, and in that same possession, they cross the ball right into Quiñones, who heads it but the Korean keeper makes the save. But Korea started to pile on the pressure as they win the ball back on Mexico, breaking through the midfield, passing the ball to Seoul, who gets it in under control and has a free chance, but he scuffs it wide. Then Korea continued. This time they put a cross into Kang-in Lee, who just barely missed it. And it's looking like that Mexico is going to lose this game. But then, all of a sudden, they get lucky.
Jimenez is waiting for the cross. Jimenez was trying to guide it. That was a good header behind him by Lee Gi-hyuk, and the goalkeeper drops it. It's his and it's in! Mexico lead!
So the goalkeeper ends up making a horrible mistake, giving the Mexicans a goal against the run of play. But the Koreans continued pushing for the equalizer, never giving up. Son has a chance, but he ends up over-dribbling and losing the ball. Then, a player on the left wing cuts in and crosses the ball in. The number 3 has a completely free header, but Rangel makes a brilliant save before the ball is hit again by the number 22, but Rangel stretches all the way from off the floor to tap it away before the ball is cleared. That was a close call, and thanks to the heroics of the goalkeeper, Mexico escaped with a win. They didn't have a good game as shown by the stats. Korea had more expected goals, bigger chances, more total shots, and more possession. But Mexico managed to show resilience defensively, refusing to break down, a sign that their new tactics are working. And now, with 6 points, they became the first team that automatically qualified to the knockout rounds. Their last game was a dead rubber game against Czechia. This gave Aguirre the chance to massively rotate his squad. They rested Raul Jimenez, Gutierrez, Lira, and Vasquez. Anyway, Mexico blitzed Czechia right from the gate. They got their first goal early in the second half, thanks to Roma playing Chavez through with tons of space for him to run through, and finish past the keeper. Then they sent Sanchez through on goal, who ends up slipping as the keeper comes out. The defender tries to clear the ball, but it bounces off the Mexican player on the floor, giving Quiñones the easiest goal he'll ever score. Mexico then went on to score again, securing a 3-0 win for El Tri. And with this game, they wrote themselves into the history books. They won all 3 games for the first time, not even conceding a goal at all. And now comes Mexico's biggest test yet. Up until now, what they have done is impressive. But one thing that's been haunting them for so long is their next task. They have to win a knockout game. And it's against Ecuador, a team who had just beaten Germany. They would need to play at their absolute best and come in determined if they want to get a win. The game started off hot for Mexico as Ecuador looked sluggish. Mexico were already creating opportunities to shoot outside the box. Early on, Romo crossed the ball straight into Jimenez, but he hit the header just wide. Then Gilberto Mora cuts in and attempts to shoot, but it curls just wide of the net. Ecuador decide to create their own chance as Yeboah makes the defender and takes a power shot that is stopped by the post, saving Mexico. But then Alvarado plays a ball into the path of Quiñones, who is just barely onside. He has the entire half to run into as he edges closer and closer to goal, but Pacho catches up, blocking him off. He instead decides to just cut inside and smash the ball, scoring to give Mexico the lead and a brilliant goal for him. But Mexico weren't done just yet, as their press worked to perfection, winning the ball in a dangerous area, with Raul Jimenez giving it to Quiñones. They play it 1-2, giving it back to Jimenez for him to finish past the keeper, giving Mexico an insurance goal and giving himself his second ever World Cup goal. And you can see how much this means to him. All of a sudden, Ecuador have been stunned as Mexico scored 2 quick goals. And from here, Mexico can do what they have been doing all tournament. They can dig deep and defend with their lives. Yeboah had the opportunity to curl it inside, and he did, but Rangel palmed the ball away. Then, Ecuador get a free kick as they cross it in, but Vasquez is able to get it away. And just like that, the final whistle is blown. And all across the stadium, you could see scenes of pure jubilation. For the first time in their history, Mexico had won a World Cup knockout match. Players embraced on the pitch as tens of thousands of fans celebrated in the stands, knowing that they had just witnessed a moment that would be remembered for generations.